everybody, it's Deb here with Creative Life. Thanks so much for joining me today. And today I have something fun we're going to do. I've been meaning to do a journal page every month, and February and March got away from me. So we're going to go ahead and do April's today using some of the leftovers from each of the kits for the month of April. So we're going to be using some of the mixed media items, okay? We're also going to be using some of this shabby chic bouquet paper that was in for the card kit. And then we're going to be using the scrapbook kit scraps that I have left over. And so I found one of the little verbiages, sentiments, what have you, that I thought would go really good. And so I may add another one. I don't know yet. We'll just see how it goes. But I did pull a few out. This one here says wonderful, happiness, intoxicating. And then I have beautiful. And then this one says escape the ordinary. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using some of the little cut-aparts that are from this paper collection, okay? So basically, I already fussy cut out a few of the items from here, and I just thought that these were super cute, and so I thought that we would use these. Then we're going to be using some windows that were from another kit. The windows were from the March scrapbook kit, so you'll find some windows in that kit. And then we're going to be using some of these pretty florals that are found on the website. I'll have the link down below. And then we're going to be using this piece. Now this piece was a piece, I believe, from last year. I can't remember what kit that it was from, but it was from 2024, and I believe it is already sold out. But if you have some little chipboard fencing or whatever you have, even if it's the wooden fencing, you can use some of that. Okay, so to do this page, or just use whatever you have. So I'm going to grab my book here, and I already gessoed the back of this piece right here because I still have to do February and March, and this is April. So I'm going to go ahead and use the back of that. And so I already used some clear gesso that I had in my stash. So to use this, we're going to be using some of this enamel accents along with some of this stardust. And this is Pink Ink Designs, and this is the Turquoise Waters. And basically, we're going to be kind of overlapping these amongst or around our page here. And I just think that this is going to turn out so pretty. So, and then we're going to be using some of this antique gold powder, and I will probably use it on the fencing and maybe the window. I'm not sure yet because I think I might want to paint the window white, maybe. I don't know yet. And this here, we'll be using some different paints, okay? So I think so. We may use this. I don't know. This would be really pretty for the leaves, but it just depends on how our background gets done and everything. So I did cut out some other little elements or embellishments from the collection, the paper collection. And again, that is the card kit that has the shabby chic bouquet in it. And so let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I just went ahead and I placed a little bit of this down, just like that. And then I just squirted a little bit of water on there, not very much. And then I just kind of mixed it in. So it kind of becomes a little watery. Alrighty, so there's that. Next, we're going to use this one here. And this one's kind of the same thing. We're just going to take a little spoon and I'm going to do this down here. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Grab a little paintbrush. And swirl that around. Just like that. So to begin, we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to go back and forth. Now I'm kind of wanting like a gradient, so I am doing like a lighter or a darker, I should say, up here. And then as we go down, it's going to become lighter. Okay. And I'm not going to do the whole page. We're just doing parts of this page. Okay, if you want to do the whole page, you can do that. I'm just kind of going to go with the flow here. So next I'm going to grab my blue and I'm going to go over it. Okay, so now I'm just grabbing the blue and I'm going to go down the page, and I am going to end up going probably all the way, almost all the way down, and I'm going to just go back and forth between the purple and the blue, mixing them both to create just a really nice colorful background. You can do your background however you would like. It's just whatever you feel, and like I said, this is just basically for inspiration. So I hope that you join me in doing this and have fun. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and get your Versamark and you're going to go over your fence or whatever chipboard you're using, and then you're going to go ahead and sprinkle on that Pearl-Ex on top of that. Now I just used a brush because there was a lot of different areas here. I just went ahead and brushed it on. A little bit goes a long way, so you don't really need a lot to cover your chipboard piece. So here you're just going to go ahead and you're just going to brush this on, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to set it aside for a minute. Next, we're going to grab our chipboard window, and I do have the link for the windows down below for you. So if you want the windows, you could just grab the windows. And I grabbed a white pencil. You can paint if you want to, but I wanted to try the white colored pencil to see how it would look. And it actually didn't do too bad. However, I did change it at the end to black because the white and the pink that I put on the window just didn't, it was too plain. It just didn't pop out from the background like I wanted. So I did go ahead and change that up. Now here what I did is for this piece I will also put down in the description box down below for you, but you can also get these pieces in some of your kits and you may have some left over. So this piece is a really pretty floral piece with leaves on it, and what I did is I used some of the Tim Holtz crayons that we got in a Halloween kit from, I think it was last year or the year before. And that's what I used to color this piece here. You can also use some of your gelatos. If you have some of gelatos, you can definitely pull those out and they work the same way. So you'll just go ahead, put them on, and then go ahead and use your finger, or maybe you have a little brush or something, and you'll just go ahead and spread that out. Okay, so the next thing, once you're done with your chipboard pieces, you're just going to go ahead and glue them down. And now you can see my page, and it's all colored in with the blue and the purple. And I just started laying down my pieces. Now, I did kind of eyeball where I wanted everything. So I just kind of, put glue down there. And then if I needed to move something, I just kind of moved it quickly. And, but really, I think that this page turned out so pretty. And I wanted those leaves to kind of fill in some partial of that window there. And then I went ahead and laid the fence down, or that little gate, and I just placed that right on top of the little window, the little flower chipboard piece that we colored. And then I started adding the roses that I cut out from the shabby chic bouquet paper collection from the card kit. And I just continued gluing everything down. I really, really like how this page turned out. And then the little light up there that you see off in the upper right hand side above the window, I went ahead and placed some foam tape behind there. That is also fussy cut out from the Shabby Chic Bouquet paper collection. And I just put some foam tape on the back so it would give it a little bit of height. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some yellow behind there to kind of blend it out so it looks like it's illuminating some light back there. So now I'm just placing down all of my items that I fussy cut, and we put in these little birds in the nest. I think that was so cute. So I did pop those up with some foam tape. I just thought that they would stand out a little bit more with the foam tape. So I really like how this turned out. And I just continued to build on top of everything. So, and then you can do the same. So if you want to, you can, place your flowers all over. It's totally up to you, however you want to do your little piece here. I just thought that the little roses showing out of the little window would be so pretty. And then I just continued to layer. And I was going to go ahead and use that piece, but I decided not to. I kind of was like, it's there's a lot of flowers in there, and so I just thought, you know what, we're just going to leave it. Now here I went ahead and I placed some white down first, just around the lamp area. And then after I did the white, I went back over it with a really light cream or a yellow color and just kind of placed that over the white and just used my finger to buff it out. And that's what you're going to do here. You're just going to buff it out. And this is if you have gelatos. And if you have watercolor paints, you can maybe do the same thing. And I just thought gelatos would be, handy for me. So that's why I used that. Now the little tickets that come in this scrapbook kit, you're going to go ahead and paint 3 of them black. I used black gesso just to paint them black, and then I picked out 3 of the words from the scraps that I had left over from the scrapbook kit, and I just placed those right on top of each of the black tickets that we painted. The next thing I wanted to show you is this turquoise waters powder that we have from Pink Ink Designs. I wanted to show you what it looks like on black. So what I did is I just grabbed some and I did little dots below each and above each of the words that we used. So you can barely see it, I know, but if you do this, I promise you, it is stunning. So if you have a black background on something, you can definitely use this. It is so pretty and it just sparkles. So if you want to give it a try, I suggest you do. Okay, you guys, we are done with our little journal page, and I absolutely love it. I love how this turned out. And that's one thing that I like about journal pages is that you can do anything you want. You know, you can, just go ahead and get in your zone, and you can create anything that you want on your art journal page. And so today what we did was we used something from each kit, right? And today we used the little sentiments and the little chipboard tickets from the scrapbook kit. And I went ahead and I did kind of put some dots using that turquoise waters powder that you can mix with water, and you can use them. I just placed little dots on each end of the little tickets that we went ahead and painted black, and then I just went ahead and glued on the sentiments on there, and I think that looks so pretty. And then we used these butterflies. The butterflies are actually, I think, from last month's kit, and I'll put that down below if it's still available with the butterflies, okay? And then for the background, I went ahead and just did a mixture of the purple and the blue together, and then I put this light right here that is popped up with some foam tape, and then I went ahead and just used some yellow and kind of put it towards the end so it looks like the light is illuminating, and then the window, I did color that white with some colored pencil, but then I started looking at it and it was just so plain that I felt that it was just, kind of not really being seen in the background. So I went ahead and grabbed a black marker and went around the window, and then grabbed my foil pen and just went ahead and colored the inside of the window. So you can see that there. We went ahead and colored this little pretty flower chipboard piece with the leaves with some of the markers, crayon markers from Tim Holtz. So those were in a kit from about a year ago or so. And if you still have those, that's what you can use to color in your chipboard pieces. And then here on the fence, we used the antique gold Pearl X to color in that fence. And I just think that looks so pretty. The bird and the roses and the birds in the nest are actually from the Shabby Chic bouquet paper collection from the card kit. And that little key is too. So I think this came together really nice. And, I think the sentiments, I love having the sentiments because you can add those to how you're feeling or what you want to say on your page. So I hope this gives you guys some inspiration to kind of play around with using all three of the kits together, like, whether you have scraps or you just want to do it using all three of the kits or just the kit that you have, and just kind of give you some creativity in doing an art journal. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll put all the links down below for you if all the kits are still available for what I used, okay? So you can click on the kits and I'll direct you straight to the shop. Thanks again for joining me. You all take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye! Thanks for joining me today, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and head on over to Trace Jolie to check out their shop. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment, and join me Friday nights at 4:30 Central Time.